Good. Got a little bit of a different format today. We're
Yeah.
at the home studio,
I like it.
so hopefully the sound quality's as good as the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff paying money to the man.
that's right.
Yeah.
Fuck the man.
That's
Yeah.
it. We're decentralising the podcast.
Yeah. Make it fair and even and whatnot.
I reckon. Yeah.
So how'd we go with our music chat last
Was
week? It was
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
We've been talking about that all week, haven't
I know,
we?
yeah,
Been
we
bouncing
definitely
ideas
have.
around
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
taking trips down memory lane about
Yeah.
all our musical stuff.
Yeah, well, I even last night sitting at this very table with the family and had a discussion about Guns N' Roses, and then I thought, we were discussing top 20 songs and Dave's musical knowledge for his kids and
Music head.
music head. Yeah, what I really loved about that was that you quizzed your kids and you wrote down in the studio last week. We had your list of
Questions.
pages and pages of questions you had for your kids.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And then most of the time they got the answers right too, and they got more than 75%. They got $5 each.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was impressed by that because your questions were quite hard,
Incentivise them.
and I would have got
Yeah.
almost none of them right because I don't pay attention to the nitty gritty of what's happening, what the artist's album name is, or something like that. I just
Yeah.
know what I like.
Yeah.
So you were rattling off those questions, and CJ, you did pretty well, but I was a bit lost.
I'm a bit of a Rain Man with music. I can
Yeah.
remember stuff. And
Yep.
I'm good with names and faces and
Uh huh.
yeah.
But what I loved after it was the 20 top songs each of us
Oh.
brought
The
up.
discussion we
That
had.
was-
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
finding
was.
I found my top 5 songs, and I reckon they're concrete. And then I thought I'll extend it to 20, and getting 20 of your top favourite songs is pretty difficult.
It's really hard.
Did you think finding 5 was easier than 20?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. My top 5 are
Pretty
always
set in
there.
stone.
Set
Yeah.
in stone. Yeah. You shook me all night long. What you need in excess. Working class man. I think they're up there. Gortazaran. They're up there, top 5.
Was that is that in Arabic?
I think it's Celtic.
Celtic.
Mm.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
a nice tune.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed listening to that because we all
Haunting.
made a Spotify list and we shared it with each other, and we all got to listen to each other's top
Yeah.
20. And I really enjoyed
Yeah.
quite a few of yours, or quite a few of everyone's actually. Yours was
Yeah.
really good too. So.
Yeah, what I found interesting about it was how your top 20 songs, like when I was listening to your Smithy and your CJ, I was actually thinking, why did he select that? Like what memory of his past or what experience of his past or growing up made him like that song?
Yeah.
You know, like you had a bit of Prodigy in there and a bit of dance music, and even that Mazzy Star, Fading to You.
Yep.
like that's a beautiful song.
It is.
And I just
yeah.
thought, where did that come from in Smitty's growing up
Yeah.
period? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't even tell you. Just soaked into my psyche somewhere in
Yeah.
the early 90s when it was
Yeah.
big, and just I love it.
It's
Yeah, it's a great
interesting
song.
how music can put you back to. We might have discussed it last week, but it can put you back to certain spots, and you know exactly when you heard it. And yeah, a few of mine definitely. I had "Daughter" from Pearl Jam on there.
Yeah.
Not maybe it's not my favourite Pearl Jam song, but it was definitely my entry. And I reckon I think I was in year 8 in high school when that came out, and it was kind of like a switch from me going from being a kid to feeling like I was moving to be an adult, if that makes sense. Like it was like a real pivotal moment. You're at high school for the first time, you start noticing girls for the first time, this song comes along, you kind of listening to cool music, adult music, rather, that was a real turning point for me. And then there's others like there's a singer called Mattis Yahoo. There's a song in that my top 20 One Day. It's really obscure, probably not many people know about it. Having said that, we go to the farmers market at Stirling, and the lady plays her ukulele and she plays that song, and I wouldn't think too many people know it.
Yeah.
But it's very cool. But we were driving, my girlfriend at the time, now, we were driving down Rodeo Drive in Los Angeles when that was playing, come on the radio. It was
Yeah.
this new single. I had his previous album. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Just so things like that.
Yeah.
And then we bought that record in San Francisco and then listened to it for our entire trip.
Yeah.
You know, just things like that that, you know, put you back to.
Yeah, well, that's the same when Tab and I were travelling around USA. We had OK Computer on.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the
sick.
90s.
Yeah.
And then we also had Tea Party, the album Splendor Solace from the Tea Party. That
Man.
was just, they were always on. And the Pearl Jam album, you know, the one with the little pictures in it. It's got like little squares.
Oh, yeah, no code.
No code. Yeah,
Yeah.
no code. So those 3 albums were on like, constant recycle
Yeah.
when we're driving around the states. And
Man.
then every time I hear a song from those albums,
Yeah.
I always think about that trip.
The Tea Party.
Great
That
band.
was another one that I thought were quite an obscure band. I didn't really know about them until I met my wife, and she not dragged me as I was into music, but I hadn't heard of the Tea Party, and I went to watch them at Metro City in here, and they blew me away.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
I was like, they were unbelievable. I didn't know any of the words,
Yeah.
and I just sat and watched. I was like, holy shit!
Really? Yeah. Right.
John Butler played before
Yeah.
hand, and that was before he was big, and he was awesome as well.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where then I went away and I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
Tea Party, good.
Well, let me share you my top 20, right? Which you've already listened to. So if you want to share yours, go for it. But I'll read you mine. This is pretty much in order. My
Maybe we
top
could put
20 songs.
We could put a link out and people can listen to them if they'd like.
Yeah, because you know what? I actually quite enjoyed listening to your top 20s each, just because I love music. And I just love other people's impression of music, or
Yeah.
what their taste of music.
Yeah,
So I really enjoyed listening to all yours.
yeah.
And then there was songs in there that I hadn't heard for ages, like that song on yours, Jonesy. I think I mentioned it the other day to you.
Dusty Springfield,
Dusty
for what it's
Springfield,
worth.
For what it's
Yeah.
worth. What a beautiful song. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's
When
a
I
great
heard
song.
that in there, I thought, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So my number one was You Shook Me All Night Long, AC/DC. I love that. It's from one of my favourite albums.
Yeah, yours had a real rock flavour, like
Did they?
metal sort of. Your list in general.
Yeah,
which I
right.
liked. I enjoyed that.
80s
Yeah.
rock, yeah.
Yep.
Good Tazaran, What You Need in Excess, Working Class Man Jimmy Barnes, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana, Flame Trees, Gold Chisel, Welcome to the Jungle, Hurt, but the Johnny Cash version. I love that song.
Great song.
Enter Sandman, Metallica, Do the Evolution. That's probably my favourite Pearl Jam song.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good one for the modern ancestral man too.
Yes.
Really. Maybe I'll see if I can get in touch with Eddie and we can maybe use that as our theme song. from
Yeah.
now on.
We'll get Mickey Matt to contact Eddie because Mickey Matt's got the contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still working behind the scenes. Mickey
Yeah.
Mack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to get a hold of him and see how he's going with that Andrew Tate interview request as well.
Set up, yeah.
Yeah. I
He's
he
onto
was-
that.
I think he was
Are we
onto it.
close? We could be close.
I think he said he would get it.
So after that one, Highwayman. Have you heard the Highwayman song? It's got these legend. Oops. Got these old legend singers. Who are they? Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson. They sing this song. It's like a bit of reincarnation song. You know, a man dies and evolves through life. Young Years from Dragon, Where the Streets Have No Name, U2, Werewolves of London, Warren Zevon. I love that song. Werewolves of London. One Perfect Day, Little Heroes. That takes me back to living in London. Take Me Back, Noiseworks. The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, Roberta Flack. It's a beautiful song. To Her Door, Paul Kelly. Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison. And In the Ghetto, Elvis Presley. And I don't know why that song sort of resonated with me, but I like it because it's the whole cycle of poverty. I find that really interesting. You know, a child born in the ghetto and then he grows up, gets killed, still in a car.
South Park ruined that one for me. Cartman sang that song.
Did he sing in the ghetto?
He's like, in the ghetto. His real high pitched voice. It's a good one.
Have you got yours?
I do, mate. I won't read them all out, but
Sorry.
I think it's a good idea, Sergio. Maybe we'll chuck them up on the
Yeah,
chuck
flick
links
them
on
out
and everyone
there.
can check
Yeah.
them out. But
Yeah.
mine's very eclectic. I've got a mixture of
You
sort
do
of
have an
like
eclectic mix.
you know, some grunge, some Britpop, some dance and techno, some sort of lyrical ones. Like, yeah, there's a fair bit of different stuff there.
Yeah, there was, but that was the
The
beauty of it.
highest state of consciousness.
That-
Josh Wink, is it?
Yeah, Josh Winks. Yeah, that's a classic.
I hadn't heard that one
classic
before.
track that used to absolutely pump
Yeah.
in the clubs back
The
in the
clubs,
90s.
yeah.
In clubs. Yeah, I used to enjoy going a lot of techno
And
and
that
dance.
Underworld song.
Born Slippy. I
Yeah.
mean, I reckon that's a classic
It's-
sound of
it
the
is
90s.
hard.
Like, when you play that dun dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun.
Yeah,
I reckon
yeah.
everyone's just like, oh, that takes me back.
Yeah.
Like, I was playing that a while ago, and a chick was coming past the house. She goes, "Oh, that takes me back to the '90s in London." I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
like,
Yeah, nice.
Just it's sick. But I was going to ask you guys, do you get into a lot of songs for their lyrics? Because a lot of songs, the tune is just cool, and they just like you really rock out to it. But I think there's a few songs where you really resonate with like the lyrics or what
Absolutely,
the artist is
yeah.
trying to say.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some you can't even understand what the hell they're saying. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the Rage Against the Machine songs, I could have put half a dozen of those in my top 20.
yeah. Well, CJ, you and
allowed-
I both had Bulls on Parade.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. See, and that wouldn't be my go-to Rage song.
But another one that was probably the one that got me into Rage Against the Machine, because when I was, 91, as I talk about daughter going through that transition, I remember Killing in the Name coming out and going.
Yeah.
I was only 10 or 11, going, whoa, that's
That was on my list as
scary
well.
and
Yeah.
bit full on,
Yeah.
And then, 4 or 5 years later, they've got Bulls on Parade. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
and then you go back.
Mm.
Both the albums are awesome.
Yeah. I think Fistful of Steel is my favourite.
Yeah.
Love that song.
Yeah.
It's just a real ballsy.
Yeah, but they've all got a message, all of them. Some
Yeah.
of them, about the struggles of people in Mexico and, the working class and, those kind of things.
Yeah.
First ever band to stop Wall Street. That's pretty good, where they played the Sleep Now in the Fire film clip on
Oh, is
Wall
that right?
Street.
Oh, yeah.
Had to shut Wall Street down.
Oh, yeah.
Right
yeah.
on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You know you made it when you're doing that sort
I
of
know.
stuff, don't you?
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
you're up
But
there.
even because I had Fortunate Son, Creedence on my list, and the lyrics on that probably got me.
Still
you
think
know?
about Trump every time I hear that song.
Yeah,
Like I was
You
telling
told
the
me
Trump
this
campaign.
one. Yeah.
That was so cool. Like,
Yeah. Well, maybe you can explain it.
oh, when Trump was battling Biden in the last presidential election, it was sort of at the height of COVID and all the bullshit. And one of the sort of little snippets that Trump put out was a comparison of one of his rallies versus one of Joe Biden's rallies. And so Joe is standing there and he's got these giant big circles with an empty chair in it, talking to a crowd of nobody, and he's bloody half demented, doesn't know what he's saying, and just talking gibberish basically to nobody.
Weren't they cardboard cutouts?
It might have been something stupid
Yeah.
like
And it
that.
was
There
all
was
the
definitely like these
social distancing thing.
circular
Yeah.
bubbles for social
Yeah.
distancing, and if you
Yeah.
did see someone, the fucking whole face was covered by a mask. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you see this cut out to like Trump's rally, and it's like all these freedom people there, like flying the American
Red,
flag,
white, and blue.
barely a mask to be seen, and they're playing that song in the background. Dun-dun-dun,
Yeah.
dun-dun-dun, and he comes in a chopper, and he's blowing up all this wind, and he's getting out there, and everyone's going crazy, like yeah. And he gets out, and his crazy Trump hair's blowing in the wind, and like it's just like it just made him look like a boss.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that music really
Yeah.
just took it to the next level, which is what music does, isn't it? Like it just
Yeah.
adds to like emotion and
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Trump.
killer.
Trump ain't no millionaire's son.
Oh, he kind of is, yeah. Kind of, he's against everything that Creedence really, were for, but
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
it still worked at the time.
I think it was about the draft in Vietnam, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a lot of war sort of era
Yeah.
songs, didn't
Yeah.
they, about Vietnam War and stuff like that. A lot of their songs are really good.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, great band.
Yeah. Actually, we didn't really touch on it, but sort of we talked about soundtracks a little bit, didn't we? But the Forrest Gump soundtrack is unbelievable. It's got
Yeah.
it's got For What It's Worth, Dusty Springfield. It's got Creedence. It's got what is it, Sloop John B by the
Oh, yeah.
Beach Boys. It's just
Yeah.
another classic.
Because that movie's set in two awesome decades of this, late 50s, in the 60s and early 70s. wasn't it?
Yeah.
When Jenny,
Jenny.
she got AIDS.
Yeah. If I was going somewhere, I was running.
I love you, Jenny.
Yeah. Beautiful movie.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's I've read the book, and the book is a little bit different to the movie.
Is that right?
Yeah, the book, I don't know.
Let me
He's,
guess, usually better, the book.
no,
No?
I don't think so. Like he was more of a bumbling. He was a bit of a bumbling idiot, but I don't know. It's hard to describe. Read
Yeah.
the book.
Less
Tabernacle.
delightful.
He was less likable
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
book.
right.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Tab and I went to the bench that he sat on in,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Savannah.
Oh, is that a
Yeah.
real... It's not like a Hollywood set, it's a real bench
Yeah.
somewhere, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's in this little square in Savannah.
Right.
I'm sure it's Savannah.
Savannah, Georgia? Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, I think so.
Done some extensive travel.
Yeah, you have trouble.
Yeah, and there's also a pretty famous book with a statue in Savannah as well. I can't remember what was written there. Anyway,
Yeah, you're
Tangent.
right,
yeah, but yeah, awesome movie.
Travel agent lifestyle, eh? Back in the day,
Yeah.
all that
Tangents,
travel.
good,
Yeah.
good Tea Party album. Tangents.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
Tevin, I went to a few
Right,
different places. Just sort of like just out of interest, like John Lennon's apartment where he got shot. We went
Oh
there.
yeah.
We rocked up in Florida a week after Giovanni Versace was shot dead on his front
yeah.
steps of his house.
Yeah.
Still bloodstains on the porch and all
Oh.
that sort of shit. We just rocked up there.
Wow, that's hectic.
Yeah.
Was there a conspiracy behind that one?
I don't know.
Because there was with the Lennon, wasn't there?
Mm.
It's quite.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But music was good fun going through that one. I really
was,
enjoyed it.
yeah.
And it was
Cool,
good.
yeah,
Just
we've been rocking out all week, haven't
Just
we?
what
Yeah.
prompted the after bits after we
Mm.
discuss it with that episode, just coming up with our top 20 songs, and I've
And
even
talking
gone
to mates
further
about
and
it and asking them to give us their top
Yeah.
20.
and even
Yeah.
the Gov,
Yeah.
because the Gov from work, he loves his music and he even mixes discs and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear
Vinyl.
his top 20. His vinyl, sorry,
Discs.
vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Horrified.
yeah,
But you could even go, have a drink at a pub and maybe ask the waitress what she likes.
yeah. You could.
don't even-
It's bloody putting. It's bloody putting someone on the spot asking for their top 20. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It is.
But
Yeah,
as Dave pointed out, maybe it is. Like it's just, it is just the ones that come to mind.
yeah.
They're front of mind. They come up straight away. You
Yeah.
go 1, 2. Maybe you get 3
Yeah.
off the top
Mate,
of your
three
head.
off the top of your head.
Oh.
Like, if you were just put on the spot at a party, say, play your favourite song for me,
Oh, yeah.
and you get the Spotify thing, and you go, fuck, what do I choose?
Mm.
You just go, boom, there's my favourite song.
Would you do it based on the mood of the party though?
Well, that's what
so
I
the
said.
party's like rocking out.
I
You
know.
put on some like rock out music.
Yeah.
If you had like some
Yeah, if you put on Mazzy
Fucking-
Star,
Yeah, Mazzy
dinner
Star.
party
at
and
a
some shit,
Bogan
and I was
party,
like, get
yeah.
the fuck out of here.
yeah. Or OK Computer at a
Yeah,
Bogan
yeah,
Play
rock
Creep.
and roll party. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I tried to break it up into genres and then do each genre sort of credit and give it a few songs.
Jeez,
I didn't
right.
allow any band
Sorry.
to have more than one song,
Yeah, I did a couple of.
which is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those bands, I don't think, and maybe I sound like I'm getting real old, but I don't see music these days. Like some of the bands we talked about there had spans over 30, 40 years. Rolling Stones, look at them, they're still going.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney's still touring. Is anyone that is around at the moment going to be producing albums in 20, 30 years' time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it really Paul McCartney though?
Ooh, another conspiracy.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
get
there's a
into
theory
that.
there that he was assassinated back in the day, and the man who he is supposedly Paul McCartney is a
Someone else.
stand-in. Yeah,
Is that because
and apparently there's something to do with the Abbey Road cover, where Paul McCartney is not the guy that you know now as Paul McCartney, is the first guy,
The original.
real one,
and the number plate on the car is the day he died or something,
Something
like that?
like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's supposed to be all sorts of clues on that cover, isn't there?
Yeah.
I've heard people say. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah. It is the conspiracy that he was and the Beatles were getting too big at the time, and that was similar to Lennon, the conspiracy
Possibly,
behind the
yeah,
Lennon.
or what they were sort of singing about, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, John Lennon, it's not a conspiracy that the CIA had been watching him.
Yeah,
and did
yeah.
have a file on him.
Yeah,
I think that's probably
People
part of
have
the reason why the
Extended that and
conspiracy-
said, well, perhaps they had some hand in his killing.
Yeah.
Obviously, they caught the guy that did it, and it was very clear that he was the guy. But whether or not they had some influence on this guy or whatever, but he was definitely singing about some sort of counterculture stuff that maybe the powers that be might not have been happy with. So,
Yeah. And they did have some songs where you're like, what the fuck is going on in that song? Yellow Submarine. What's that about?
I think
What's
it was
that
about
Nor-
being on LSD, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
What's that Norwegian one? Norwegian something? I don't know. What's that about?
I think Yellow Submarine was a direct metaphor for
LSD.
LSD.
Oh, there you go.
We're
Well,
living
they
in
were
Yellow
pretty.
Submarine.
so
That's
that wasn't
true.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Apparently, that's not.
Well, probably I think it was several of their. I think you got like
Yeah.
the Beatles before LSD and the Beatles after LSD, and they sort of
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the,
you know,
the acronym
did some more.
is similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lucy, Sky, Diamonds is LSD.
Well, that's what I thought. That's what
Yeah.
they were getting at.
Yeah. But I get maybe you're right, because at the time, when they doing the CIA doing stuff with LSD and
Yeah,
Yeah,
MK
totally.
Ultra.
Yeah.
Ultra, yeah,
yeah,
heaps of stuff.
and they were talking about it. So
They were
it's not a
they
long,
were booking out hotel rooms and employing hookers to get Johnnies off the street, taking them back to the hotel rooms, and they had another room behind a glass mirror, observing the behaviour of the Johnny, who the prostitute had given a drink with to start the evening, and that was laced with LSD, and then
And they were giving them crazy doses.
crazy doses.
Like if a
man.
normal dose of LSD is like 100 or 200 micrograms, they're giving them like 1,000 or more, like just absolute like
Wow.
Yeah.
you know,
And that's
mind bending.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's
full
not a
loss of-
conspiracy. That is fact. That's
Oh, yeah.
documented and released
Yeah.
files that project was occurring.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
just your government just drugging you
Yeah.
Yeah,
off the street randomly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, they do that. That's all right.
Oh, hey, there's a great thing on Netflix at the moment called bloody hell, it has been vacant memory. It's about the OxyContin epidemic and how that all started in the US.
Oh,
Painkiller.
painkiller.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen it. I
only
haven't watched it yet.
Six episodes,
Yeah, there's-
about 50
yep.
minutes long.
Yeah,
Man, it is so heartbreaking. At the start of every episode, they have a real person, like a mother, have a photo and say the events occurring in this following episode are based on true events but fictitious characters, blah, 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 to cover their asses, I guess. But the death of my daughter, and they show a photo of her, is not fictitious. She died when she was 24 of OxyContin, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
So people have overdoses, and
Man,
is it the fentanyl that's laced with it, or is it?
Well, back in the day, it was just OxyContin, which essentially
It's heroin.
it's essentially morphine.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you have enough oxycodone, OxyContin,
Yeah.
they make the hillbilly heroin out of it. If you want to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to the next step,
Yeah.
people can inject it and all sorts of stuff. But you can it's very addictive. Like have it
yeah.
forming within like a week or two. Yeah,
Oh,
one or
right.
two prescriptions, you'll be hooked on it, sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. But they were just,
They knew this.
yeah,
Yeah,
It
right.
was very clear in all their
yeah.
research, but it was covered up. And
Yeah.
But doctors were making shitloads of money out of
Exactly,
dishing it or prescribing it. Pharmacists were making a shitload of money getting kickbacks from dispensing it. And salespeople for it were making a shitload of money getting all the doctors and the pharmacists to push it.
Because everyone was hooked on it, they had to keep coming
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
exactly, yeah.
So they showed on one of the episodes this guy coming in and he actually held up the pharmacy and just broke into it, she sprayed him with mace spray, but he still kept on coming, jumped the counter, searching for this oxy. Give me my oxy, like he's frothing.
Yeah, wow.
And then there's this other two teenagers. They get it in the car and they grind it up and snort it. And then we finished the episode last night. She gets dragged onto our doctor's front porch of his surgery. She's dead basically, but the doctor comes out and commences CPR. Mate, so many people died from that
Wow.
shit.
yeah, I saw a fair bit of that when I was in Ambo in Perth. It
Did
was
you?
like it's something that just happened overseas in
Yeah, right.
America. It was definitely on our doorstep in WA and probably still is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't hear about it over here, do you? Too much.
You don't hear about a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like you don't hear about the suicide epidemic that we have that happens every day in Perth,
Yeah.
day in, day out,
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
Kids, adults, all sorts of different things. You don't
Yeah.
hear about a lot of stuff. We're very
It's like-
sanitised in like what we hear in the news.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things that.
But that was an epidemic.
Yeah.
that
Well, they
so
don't
it probably
report
still
on
is.
any suicides in the news.
No, they don't. There's probably a good reason for that. They don't want to encourage it or
Glorify it,
put it in the
yeah,
forefront of
whatever it
people's
is, yeah.
mind. But it happens a lot.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between OxyContin and fentanyl? What's
So,
fentanyl?
so OxyContin is based on it's an opiate.
Yeah.
So it comes from the poppy plant.
Yeah.
So fentanyl is an opioid, which is synthetic. So an opiate always comes from the poppy. So you've got to
Right.
grow poppy fields,
Yeah.
and then they essentially, turn that into their products,
Yeah.
whether it be, morphine, heroin, OxyContin, whatever. But fentanyl is synthetic, so it's completely man-made. So it doesn't come from a plant; it comes from a lab.
Right.
So we used to use fentanyl in the ambulance service. Fentanyl is 100 times stronger than morphine.
Wow.
So, like a standard dose of morphine is 10 milligrams. Someone's in, broken leg or something like that. You give them probably 10 milligrams of morphine. If you gave someone 10 milligrams of fentanyl, you'd kill them, 10 times over.
Wow.
Like it's incredibly strong. So we used to give like very, microscopic doses of it,
Yeah.
and it's really effective. And it's probably got less side effects than
Morphine.
opiates, which come from a plant.
Right.
Less people seem to be allergic to it, but it's incredibly strong. And I
Yeah.
think because it can be made in a lab, it's probably arguably cheaper and easier for labs to
Got ya.
produce.
Yeah, right.
Far out.
Yeah,
that's
terrifying
that's
stuff.
what's killing America at the moment. Hey, that whole fentanyl
Mate,
crisis.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the people walking around like zombies.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and a lot of people die from overdoses too because
Yeah.
you don't need much of it. To,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're cutting it in with other things, aren't they?
yeah,
Fentanyl.
all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
like heroin and all
Yeah,
that. They're
yeah.
putting in there.
Mm.
Yeah,
They get it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
The zombie thing where they actually look like zombies,
Yeah.
don't they? Their skin's falling off and they're
yeah. Teeth are falling out.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're good. The pharmaceutical companies, aren't they? Apart
Yeah.
from the opiate crisis,
Yeah.
the AZT for the AIDS people back in the day,
yeah,
the Vioxx
yeah.
Yeah.
saga.
Wasn't that supposed to be like a heart?
So
a
Vioxx
heart
was
disease?
it was an anti-inflammatory. Worked really well. I
But
tried
gave
Vioxx
people heart attacks,
back-
yeah?
It gave people heart attacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it was a
right.
really effective anti-inflammatory. Like if you had inflammation, joint pain, whatever, sore back, take a couple of Vioxxes. And I had some Vioxx back in the day. I knew someone that had Vioxx, and I
Yeah.
had a sore back one day. They said, "Have some Vioxx." I was like, "It's good stuff."
Yeah,
but
right.
caused a lot of heart attacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the pharmaceutical companies clearly knew that it was causing heart attacks. You can see in their paperwork, it's
Yeah.
all been released.
Yeah.
But they also knew that it was one of the most popular drugs that they'd released, and they were making so much money off it that they decided to make a business decision to keep using it
And just
because they decided that the fines and the downstream effects of getting caught when it eventually came out were less bad than missing
Wow.
out on the profits.
Yeah, right.
So if
that
and
sounds
then
like
you
something similar to what's going on at the moment.
yeah, well, let's just say it, mRNA vaccines,
Yeah.
Pfizer, whatever. So
Yeah.
for all of you people out there that think that your pharmaceutical companies are just out for your benefit,
They're looking out for you.
wow, do your research.
And this is the
No.
beauty of this show, Painkiller. It really highlights
Yeah.
pharmaceutical companies as just greedy, money hungry, don't give a fuck about people's
Yeah.
health or whatsoever. It's all
No,
about the dollar.
that's been proven time and time again.
Yeah, yeah. And how's this Senator Babbitt in Australian politics now? He brought that bill where pharmaceutical companies lose their indemnity. If someone gets vaccine harmed or dead from it, they lose their indemnity. And I don't know whether that's getting passed yet.
Everyone's indemnity, like across the board.
Yeah, so
So
they
they've
lose
got
their,
that,
their
yeah.
indemnity if someone is harmed by one of their products.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you heard the backstory of the indemnity back in the day from
Yeah, in the 80s,
in the 80s
yeah,
with
with
the
Reagan
pharmaceutical
administration.
companies approaching Reagan? Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're basically saying
Fill
all
the
these
listeners in.
vaccines, all these childhood vaccines and stuff we're making, or any vaccines we're making have so many bad side effects that we can't make them because they're injuring so many people. So you've got to give us indemnity, otherwise we're going to stop making all of them. And the government, oh shit. Okay, yeah, we better give you indemnity then.
Yeah.
And after that, the floodgates opened.
yeah,
So all the marginal, sketchy ones, because back in the day when you're a kid, you maybe had 3,
4,
5,
yeah.
8, maybe something like that.
yeah,
Now we're having like 50.
yeah,
Different, jabs with boosters and stuff like that. And there's something like another 260 or 280 in the pipeline.
yeah. And
Because
is
there's zero liability. If they
Yeah,
release
there's
one that's a
nothing.
dud and a few people get brain damage or injured, sorry
Yeah.
about that,
And how's the incidence of
Collateral.
autism around that same time massively increases when that childhood vaccination program was launched back in the 80s?
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, it's just a coincidence.
Yeah,
A lot of autoimmune conditions.
a lot of
come
everything.
about. Yeah,
Chronic diseases have gone up from, so like 5 or 10% to
Yeah.
50% in children.
A lot,
So
of,
you
a
gotta-
lot of everything is
lot of
coincidence, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
look, the world has changed a lot. We've got a lot of plastic, we've got a lot of toxicity, we've got a lot of shit in our water, we've got a lot of terrible food now, GMOs, spray, seed oils. So it's probably not just one thing,
yeah,
but it's probably
All those chronic lifestyle
a
diseases,
jigsaw puzzle, and it's probably a piece in the puzzle.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They
Yeah.
did go up when vegetable oils and refined sugars come in.
100%, yeah. So a lot of things have changed.
yeah.
Just a coincidence, though.
But do your own research, hey? Like,
Yeah.
be knowledgeable about things.
How do we get onto this topic from talking about music?
Man, I don't know. It's real downer, hey?
Conspiracies, painkillers.
I think John Lennon took us down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did that for people. He was on my list of my
Yeah,
top 20,
Imagine.
Imagine.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful song.
Song. Yeah,
Yeah,
really good.
the words still resonate today, mate.
They do.
Don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Stand By Me, classic.
That is a classic.
Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
one of
got,
yours.
some, that's got some good lyrics in it.
I did like the Hurricane, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
He's got some really good.
Yes.
He's got some
Carter.
really good.
Yeah, that was a great
song.
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That had some talk about lyrics before that. Had some poignant lyrics.
Yeah,
in it.
that was our man Denzel, wasn't it?
Denzel in the film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Talking about addiction and the opioid crisis and stuff. One of my top 20 was Beetlebum by Blur.
Oh yeah.
And that is essentially a guy talking about like his love of a woman who's basically an addict.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right.
prostitute and stuff like
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that what that song's about?
Yeah, listen to the lyrics, quite good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
Good song.
I like my Britpop back in the day, Blur,
Yeah.
Pulp,
Yeah.
and all those guys.
Did you have a
It's big.
Britpop hairdo?
I had like a bit of a punky hairdo back in the
Did
day
ya?
for a bit, like real out there, spiky sort of shit everywhere, lots of hairspray and all that sort of stuff.
Did
Yeah,
you really?
Yeah, I was
Like,
pretty alternative when I was a young fella for a bit there, for a good few years.
Sid Vicious style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And you had, did you have Prodigy on yours as well?
I did, mate. Yeah, just Breathe, because it's just
Yeah.
such a classic one.
Yeah.
I actually love a lot of their tracks, maybe almost better, but Breathe's just so iconic.
Yeah.
Just that down,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Well, the Fat of the Land is it makes my top 20 albums. I made a list of my top 20 albums.
yeah. I love their early the Prodigy Experience was a pretty good album.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
But Fat of the Land was probably had a lot of
yeah,
pretty
classic.
good ones on there. Yeah.
And then
Bangers.
that prompted us to
Yeah.
listen to look at the film clip of Smack My Bitch Up.
So I didn't realise that's been fully censored. Did you watch that one I
Yeah,
sent you guys?
I did.
Yeah.
So they've
Yeah.
made like a remake of it, which is much more sanitised.
Yeah, but
Fuck, that
the
really
original
rocks
film
out.
clip
Yeah.
on YouTube
Oh.
stops after a minute. It won't go any further
No. Yeah.
than him
Mhm.
going full on into his drug
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's
yeah.
why it was so
Yeah.
good, wasn't it?
That was great.
Yeah.
You got to get it off Vimeo or Rumble or one of
Yeah.
those alternative.
Yeah. Oh, the twist at the end when she's looking in the mirror, that is like, fuck.
It's a pretty cool. I remember watching that back in the day when that film clip came out, and I was a pretty big Prodigy fan. I was like, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
How,
I mean,
what
they
year
copped
was
a
that,
lot
you
of
reckon?
flack for that song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Early 2000s?
90.
90s? Yeah.
No, I reckon.
Let me have a look.
If only
I
we
know.
had a device that we could look up when that
Yeah, a
happened.
device at your fingertips that gave you all the knowledge
Jamie,
of the.
look that up.
Jamie,
Yeah.
look that up. I'm going to say like 98, 99, something like that.
Oh, Fat of the Land comes
Yeah.
in.
We'll see.
Oh, Jesus. Playing minefields. The album came out in 1997,
97,
There
there
you
you
go,
go.
okay.
The Fat of the Land.
Mm.
So might have,
Yeah.
yeah, it must have been soon after that.
Mm.
It wasn't the first single off it, was it? So it was maybe, yeah,
I think it was the.
released at the time.
Was that the first song off that album?
I had Firestarter on it, didn't it?
But I thought
wasn't it
track. I
Breathe?
thought track one.
Oh,
on
track
that-
one, right, yes.
I thought track
one.
one was.
Smack My Bitch Up.
Smack My Bitch Up, yeah.
You're right. Then Breathe, then
I've
Diesel
listened, I've
Power.
listened to that a lot.
Yeah.
Diesel Power is a cool song.
Yeah.
Very different
Oh,
for them.
Mate, I love
rappy.
that song.
I used to be able to recite every single word of that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That appears in a lot of my workout
Oh yeah.
like playlists.
Yeah.
Diesel Power.
You could have a lot of playlists, couldn't you? You could have playlists for working out,
Oh yeah.
chilling.
Yeah.
Well, my argument for the top 20 is you need a top 20 for every situation and every genre. If you really want to be, if you really want to be honest to your music,
Yeah.
you got to put the hard work in. You probably need like 10 or 15 different top
This
20s.
is true.
Well, I've actually got a workout Prodigy playlist.
Oh yeah.
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 Top 20 Prodigy songs.
It's called
Top
Workout
20.
Prodigy, and it's sick, mate. Smack My Bitch Up,
Mm.
Breathe, Diesel Power, Firestarter, Fuel My Fire, Invaders Must Die,
Oh yeah.
Wall of Death, Invisible Sun, Medicine, Get Your Fight On, Rhythm Bomb. That's the one with the fox on it. The Day Is My Enemy.
Okay.
That's a good album. Spitfire, Shoot 'Em Down. Yeah, I won't go on. But yeah, awesome songs.
It's a shame about Keith.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
They sort of
Yeah.
did that tour, and I don't think it really lived up to his
no. They were on tour, weren't
expectations.
they?
And,
When it
sorry,
happened? They were on tour when it happened?
might have just finished.
Right.
Yeah.
I
But,
thought they
um,
had to cancel shows.
Oh, maybe.
I
Yeah, it
thought-
could have been. Could have been. Yeah.
And I think there's some relevance to Perth in that one, whether
Mm.
Perth was the next one they were going to play
Oh, is
or
that
something
right?
like that.
Yeah,
I may be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's what Rain Man remembers.
Oh yeah. Is this Chris Jones Rain Man
Yeah.
or Rain Man
Music,
Rain Man?
Music Rain Man.
Chris Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely 97.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were cracking. They never really. They tried a few follow-ups after the 90s into the 2000s. I didn't rate much of their later
Yeah.
work, but.
I'll tell you what's
It's-
another great album is, and I think we talked about it a little bit, got some awesome songs, is Led Zeppelin 4th album.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that just rocks, eh?
It's a classic.
Black Dog
Mm.
Rock and Roll, it's the one with Stairway to Heaven on it. It's a great album.
That's a great.
Whole lot of
track.
lows on it,
Yeah.
I think. Opens it up. Maybe not.
No, that's Black Dog starts that one. I think that's another album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.
And then also another great album is Dire Straits. I've just been listening to that a little bit. Money for Nothing. They've got some great songs. So Far Away, Money for Nothing, Walk of Life.
That was a really good, yeah.
Brothers in Arms, what a beautiful
Oh,
song.
that's a great track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll
My
probably get
time,
laughed at
man.
for this, but one of my 20th favourite album, and I really got into this album, was Placebo.
I like Placebo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't, but this Black Market Music album, that's the cover of it. It's got like a little machine sort of looking thing on it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome album. It's great, got some great songs on there. But not a lot of people like Placebo.
Has that got Every Man, Every You on it, or?
Tasting Men, Days Before You Came, Special K, Every You, Every Me, no.
No.
But yeah. Music, man, you can talk about it for ages.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Albums are a lot harder to pick, I reckon, good albums than good tracks.
Yeah.
Go top 20. I know you've done your top 20.
How do you
favourite
select a good album?
albums? Oh, I mean, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it again takes you back to a time in your life. But
Yeah.
I also reckon, as I said last episode, was an album has a flow,
Yeah.
has a story to it, and I
Yeah.
reckon those albums are just an
Must be.
easy listen, a good listen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them, timing is pretty good. The key, you know, in releasing an album, like you say, those Prodigy ones, maybe the world just wanted in 1997 that album, and then they're doing the same thing in 2005 or 6, and nobody wants it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I don't know. You look at say, Nevermind. I'm like, that's a great album, but was it just released at the perfect time?
Yeah.
Is that what everyone wanted? Because maybe you release Nevermind now, and you go, nobody's really into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
like if you're
maybe it's that iconic that no matter when you released it, it'd be cool. But
I like to think so.
possibly
Well, that album pretty much changed the movement of music at the time, didn't it?
it did.
Brought in a new genre of music.
Yeah,
It definitely heightened like grunge to a new level, didn't it?
Yeah. And
It was already building, obviously. Like,
yeah. There was a lot.
prior to
going on.
that, dudes were wearing the big hair, the makeup, the big boots, and all of that, going out fully dressed out to do their music.
There was glam rock.
Glam
and
rock.
then-
These
Yeah.
guys come out of the garage with their sneakers and their
Yeah.
skate
Yeah.
clothes on.
T-shirts and shitty ass clothes.
Yeah,
and no
just
money
some
and
long hair,
Yeah.
natural
Smelling.
hair.
dirty, grungy,
Yeah,
Smelling
and it
bad.
just resonated
smelling like Teen
with
Spirit.
Yeah.
with a generation that had just moved on from the glam side. of
Yeah.
shit, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
That glam period was interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's weird.
You had a lot of bands that were into it, eh? Like,
Yeah.
Warrant,
Poison.
Poison, even like Bon Jovi.
I listened to a lot of Poison when I was in like first year of high school. That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even looking at
Warrant as well. Yeah.
yeah,
showing the kids Guns N' Roses,
yeah.
and they just laughed. It's like, look at their hair.
Yeah.
It's like, especially for I don't know, it was Welcome to the Jungle or something. Their hair is out there. You
Yeah.
know, they're wearing
Oh, yeah.
bandanas and there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
flamboyance and
Yeah.
it's different. And yeah, maybe that's what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing that. You know.
There was a big difference between the 80s and the 90s, wasn't there? Because
Yeah.
grunge was sort of born in the late 80s and then came into its fruition in the, early, mid, well, the whole 90s really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a big change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it just went nuts. It
Oh,
just took
it went
off.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that film clip, Smells Like Teen Spirit. We were watching that on TV the other day. What an awesome film clip.
Yeah.
Where they're just all those students in there and they're just trashing that
That gymnasium.
gym, whatever it
yeah,
is.
Yeah,
Then you see Cobain's face,
yeah.
grungy hair and like close-ups and shit.
Yeah.
Just going absolutely
Yeah.
crazy.
It's an iconic song, isn't it? It's an iconic rebellion song.
Yeah, it is a bit of rebellion, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Yeah. And, mosh pits and,
Yeah,
yeah. They were brutal, hey?
yeah.
Bounce around in mosh pits a fair bit. Can't believe more people didn't get fucking really badly hurt.
Yeah. Maybe I'm old, but I haven't been in them recently.
Oh, no,
But-
not recently. No.
Oh,
Is it a thing now?
mate, I couldn't
It
even.
is,
I
yeah.
can't even
Is
stand
it?
in a crowd.
Yeah.
Wouldn't people get too offended these days if you
Well,
went to a mosh pit or
I
something?
think these days there has been a lot of injuries because people aren't looking out for each other,
Yeah.
and maybe that's society in general. Because I think maybe we're moving a bit away from that, looking after everyone.
Yeah,
I don't
people
know.
weren't really out to physically hurt you back in the day. You were
No.
kind of just all bouncing off each other, weren't
And
you?
if you
Every
drop-
now and then you might accidentally cop a elbow or something, or you probably wouldn't want to fall down or whatever. But
And if
like,
you did fall
sometimes
down,
did.
people are like, step back.
Yeah, that's sort of
Four people are
Yes.
helping you up.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you go into a mosh pit, you wouldn't expect to get hurt,
No,
but you think there's a vague chance.
it's risky.
I accidentally elbowed my current wife's ex-boyfriend in the nose in a mosh pit. Just
you're
walking out, and I was
big.
just swinging. I'm long and gangly. I got these big long limbs, and I cracked him square in the nose. I didn't mean to.
Ah, come
Swear to
on.
this day, I didn't mean to. I think I nearly broke his nose.
Really?
He was out.
Yeah, right.
I was just rocking out.
So he passed out, and you go, hey, Steve.
Oh yeah. How you doing?
Oh, what happened to him? Oh,
Here's my in.
yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that's what used to happen, every now and then.
Yeah.
Just like in sport, even non-contact sports like basketball, every now and then you get a little
Yeah.
knock or something.
Yeah,
Same sort of thing, but
yeah,
it's good fun.
yeah. So we're going to head on to talking about old mate Jefferson.
TJ,
Yeah.
Mm.
next
This,
week,
this
eh?
episode or next episode?
I don't know. We'll stay for next week, eh?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
Quite an interesting dude, Thomas Jefferson.
yeah,
Some of those old school dudes were quite interesting and had a lot of foresight.
Yeah.
yeah.
Back when politicians were good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
I'm sure there are some good politicians around now. I'm certain there are, but not all of them.
What do you reckon Thomas Jefferson rocked out to?
Oh,
A bit of Beethoven?
Some symphonies of some sort.
I'm not up to my 17.
Bit of Mozart?
Yeah.
Was it even around then?
I have no idea, man.
Yeah, gets a bit sketchy going that far back with the music, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I can go back as far as about the 60s or late 50s, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the music they played in the 20s was, like good old fashioned like dance sort of happy sort of music,
I think they were rocking out a fair bit in the 20s.
Yeah.
After the First World War and that. I think there's a fair bit of
Yeah,
partying going on in
yeah.
Europe. And
Yeah,
yeah.
The
Parts of
Roaring
the world.
20s.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Before the Depression.
Prosperity was on the up.
Mm.
Great Depressions.
Well, we're in the 20s now.
Yeah.
Roaring 20s.
Wonder what's going to happen in the 30s,
Yeah.
in the 2030s.
Yeah.
Because the 30s
Another big
didn't,
crash.
30s didn't go so well in the 1930s, did they?
No.
The world kind of went to hell for a bit, and we saw some
Yeah.
massive changes swept through, and there was a lot of misery for a long time, and then that eventually rolled into the Second World War.
Yeah. Was a
At
Great
the end of
Depression,
the-
1929.
Yeah, a lot of people lost everything, then stayed
Yeah.
quite impoverished all the way through until the world eventually degenerated into a full world war.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they reckon sparked the prosperity, wasn't it? People finally got jobs because of the
Well,
big
yeah, exactly.
industrial war complex and
Yeah,
had to make
Mhm.
ammunitions and
Everyone had a job, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Well, maybe in
jobs.
2030 we won't have a job and we won't own anything, but we'll be very happy.
Probably be happy, I'd say.
We'll
Yeah,
eat
do you reckon we'd be
bugs.
happy? Would you be happy, do you reckon?
If I don't own anything,
Yeah.
if I don't have a job, that'd be sweet.
Mm.
No, I wouldn't. Unless I'd had enough money, enough
Mm.
Bitcoin.
this World Economic
Just-
Forum, we think they can just say that you're not going to own anything, but you're going to be happy.
The pendulum is swinging, lads.
what the
I'm certain of it. For any of our listeners who are more awake, I'm sure the pendulum is swinging in our
Yeah, I
favour.
totally
I'm
agree, mate.
certain it is.
Totally agree. Yeah.
I think the last couple of years have woken people up a little bit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and I think people's awareness is greater now.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that more people are going to draw a line in the sand, like a hard line, at some point. Like everyone
Yeah.
should have lines that can't be crossed.
Yeah.
I think everyone should have that. Like it's got a bad thing, like a hard line or whatever, but like someone comes after your kids and tries to do something heinous. For most people, that would be a hard line, right?
Yeah.
But I remember during the COVID era, I remember things were slowly progressing. So at the start, COVID came out, we're all terrified. It was like, okay, we've got to flatten the curve. Don't go out for a couple of weeks, flatten the curve. And then it was like, oh, we've got to, introduce some travel restrictions. And incrementally, everyone's lines got shifted back and back. And I remember at key points, I remember some people who were quite, big in my life, whatever, saying, oh, if it ever gets to, mandating it, they force people, that's my hard line. I'll fight vehemently against
Yeah.
that. And then it came and everyone's lines disappeared.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not you guys, but most people's lines disappeared.
It's tough, isn't it?
I just feel
to
like,
get to that point.
as a person, if you care about where the world's going, you don't want to see us follow the 1930s and onwards. You've got to have some hard lines that can't be crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you know
I would
what?
encourage all of our listeners to think about what are your hard lines.
Yeah. And that's a great point, Smithy, because as you were saying that, I thought about the hard lines, and unfortunately, during the COVID period, people's health hard lines got
Mm.
thrown out the window.
Uh-huh.
But I reckon if people's hard lines with money are threatened, then they'll fucking wake up.
It's
It's
interesting.
just, I reckon people put more fucking
Yeah.
onus and
Do what you want to my body, but don't touch my fucking bank account.
Absolutely.
exactly right, mate.
Yeah,
I reckon
If
it's
I can't buy a jet ski and a camper trailer, I'm going to lose my mind.
fucking spot on, mate. I
I'm going to
reckon people
inject
don't
into
give a
something to me that's probably going to fuck my heart for the rest of my life and give up my dignity. I'll do that. That's all right.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's only a couple,
exactly.
5 or whatever, 6, however many, whatever. Just
Yeah.
get it done. But
Yeah. And you wait, mate. You wait for all these people that have some sort of financial aspect threatened of their lives, then they'll kick up, or then they'll
Yeah.
wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when it comes to their
And then
personal
is it
health,
too
they don't
late?
give a fuck.
By that time, is it too late?
Yeah.
You know?
Whereas I'm the reverse. Well, I don't want this central banking digital currency to come in, and I don't want the
No.
platform that it's based on to be able to control what I buy, what I spend, you know, and have that accessible income limited in some way, or cut off in some way.
Yep.
But health to me and health of my family is
Yeah.
is the paramount key, and I refuse. I was dragging over hot coals before you could inject my children
Yeah.
and me with a toxic thing that hadn't
Same.
been properly tested.
And I bet you don't regret that,
Not at all.
even though we
Not at
both
all.
went through some pretty hard times.
Yeah, not at all.
That was some of our hard lines. Like our little girl wasn't going to be around people who were masked.
Yep.
She was never going to get jabbed. We weren't going to get jabbed.
Yep.
And it cost both me and Susie our careers for a while, which was tough.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was a hard line.
yeah.
And I think everyone should have those these days, especially with where you spend your money. Like you touched on it before, like the monetary systems are going to change. If you don't like something, don't support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it proliferates, don't whinge about it. If you have supported it, you've done absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like I've signed so many fucking petitions.
Yeah,
Get so sick of it.
yeah,
I've written letters to politicians. You never hear any response back. I get so sick of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to do something, right?
What else can I do?
What
Yeah.
else? What else
Yeah.
can you do that's lawful?
Yeah.
But
But
because on this show we don't encourage any unlawfulness.
it would be great for politicians to stand up and listen to their constituents.
Yeah.
You look at, say, some of the people that you say are, that politician's crazy. You're like Bob Catter.
Yeah.
He's as mad as a cut snake. But what he does, and the reason why he gets re-elected, is because he gets shit done for the people that he serves.
Yep.
And people that
That's
he
the job of
serves
a
are like,
politician.
yeah, that's right. And not many of them are doing that.
No.
And you kind
A
of
lot
look
of
at
them are for the party, not for their constituency.
Yeah.
or
he's
for their own
crazy.
personal
Or for their own
careers.
personal
Yeah.
careers. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly
But
right.
Pauline Hanson's probably the same. The reason why they keep getting elected, because from the outside everyone goes, they're lunatics. But if you look into it, well, why are they getting elected? If they're an absolute lunatic, why are they getting elected?
Yeah.
It's because even if they are a bit crazy, they get shit done.
Yeah.
Yep. I was listening to a talk actually on the way here this morning in the car. I like to stream my little podcasts or whatever. I was listening to a British politician, and he was talking about the World Health Organization treaty that's coming up next year, and whether we sign or not, and they're doing the drafts here on that. But he was talking about a thing, and I don't think it exists in Australia, but I'm not too sure. You guys might know. He was saying over there they were doing this debate on the World Health Organization treaty, and it had been brought about because a petition had been passed through the parliamentary channels like we do over here, where you get those parliamentary petitions. But it had more than 100,000 signatures, so they were obliged to debate it in Parliament.
Yeah, all right.
Now, I don't know, is that a thing over here? Do you
I
guys
think
know?
it is. I think it is.
yeah.
That's
Is
why
it?
they have a target on there to say that we need to get this
Yeah.
Right.
amount of signatures to
Right.
get it into Parliament.
Okay.
I think it is. I think.
Yeah. Because it was only 100,000 in Britain, and there's obviously a lot more population
Yeah.
in Britain than there is in Australia. I thought 100,000 is not too much.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much here. Is it 20,000?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know,
That's
but I know
only
it
a
is
guess,
a
like-
factor.
Like I remember
Yeah.
some epic COVID ones that got like in the hundreds of thousands of votes. I don't ever remember seeing follow-up debates. Maybe there were.
They
and
probably
just
got debated
They
and
weren't
just-
well publicised, or they did a quick 5 minutes in the middle of the night when no politicians were around.
Yeah.
Or
Shut
some-
it down.
some
But sometimes you
dodgy
see,
stuff,
Senator Rennick and who's the guy from One Nation, senators in Parliament, and they're talking to 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is so perfectly,
Mhm.
like, it just resonates with you. It's common sense.
Yeah.
But they're talking, unfortunately, to 3 or 4 people at
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I reckon that goes on a lot.
Mm.
But I think you're right. There is a bit of a change.
There's a big
There's,
change. Yeah.
They had, I think Rennick was over here
Yeah.
recently.
Yes, he was.
And he's, I think he was hosted by Nick Gorian. He's a
Yeah. WA Libs guy.
Yeah.
He's
I
good.
think
I'll get a
he's-
few of his emails. Hey, he's really pressing WA
Yeah,
Labor government here with
Yeah.
a lot of issues and a lot of questions.
yeah.
Mm.
So there's senators like Rennick, and he's, I think, Gorian, I'm not sure how to pronounce his
Yeah.
name, but hosted Rennick, and they're having like sold out ticketed shows to come
Yeah.
and listen to him talk.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they're paid or it's just, you know, we only have a certain number of people, but
Yeah.
you know, selling out, and then you're thinking they're getting an audience, these
Yeah.
people, and it's increasing all the time. And initially, you know, during COVID, those guys were considered lunatics. You know, like, oh, listen to this crazy conspiracy right wing theorist.
Yeah.
Well, times are changing. They're getting people
Well,
to
mate,
come
in the
to
Senate,
listen to them.
in the Senate inquiries table, that Senator Rennick and I think Malcolm Roberts is the other one. They're drilling the officials from the TGA, and they
Pfizer
are.
as well. There's been a Senate
Pfizer, yeah.
Pfizer,
And the TGA are coming up with like no answers whatsoever to their questions, like to the point where
Industry funded TGA.
yeah,
Surprising.
was it 85% of their revenue comes from pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah.
That's our regulatory drug.
Yeah, they're the people that regulate the
Therapeutic
rules
Goods
around.
Association.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't tell me there's no backhand deals going on during vaccination times.
Yeah.
You know, and they're even.
Do you mean the most profitable vaccine in the history of man?
Hey, we're getting into politics here, so
Yeah,
maybe
well,
we should
yeah.
save this for next week when we talk about
Yeah, good call.
TJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you come up with something interesting with TJ. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson.
Should we wind it up now then?
Interesting
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
We're not talking about music anymore, so we're talking about
Yeah.
general stuff. So
Kind of.
we're heading into a politics realm.
Yeah.
Let's politic it.
It's easy to fall down the rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
All right.
I want to go and listen
Whoa.
to my top 20 albums.
Right, we'll post them up, eh? We'll post those 20.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
Nicky
good
Mack's
idea.
going to give his top 20 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, songs or
Songs,
Yeah.
I think. Yep.
Let's put the songs
chuck
out
them up,
there.
and if anyone's interested,
Yeah.
Yeah.
have a click.
You can go on Spotify. You can save Music Lovers. I'm actually Music Lover. I've got a few of his playlists saved.
Oh yeah.
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 I noticed his 3-minute songs had 7 or 8 saved. So people are
Is that right?
people are getting into
Who's
it.
this? What am I missing here?
Music Lover.
Music lover.
Music with a K.
Yeah. If you
That's his
if you
Spotify.
have,
okay,
if you
gotcha.
have a look at his Spotify handle,
Gotcha.
it's MUZIK.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
There's a Z in there.
LOVR.
It's real street talk.
Yeah. Real incognito.
What could that possibly mean?
You can see his tag everywhere, spray
Yeah.
painted around
Yeah.
some buildings around the place. But
Well, we're
yeah.
on YouTube now. If we don't get censored, if anyone's super keen, chuck your top 20 up in the comments.
Yeah, that'd be
Put a link up
great.
there.
I'd
That'd
love
be
to hear it.
I'll listen to
Yeah.
it. I'll rock
I'll
out. I
listen
love,
to
I love all music. So
Save it.
Yeah. And I just love. You get a feel for a person as well when you hear their top 20
yeah,
songs.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a bit of an indication of where they grew up, what era they grew up in.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, because if you look at our two, or you're around about my age, Dave,
Yep.
you're a little bit older. Yours was a little bit more 80s
Yeah.
focused, and
Yeah.
ours was a little bit more.
90s.
Yours was maybe a little bit more. I had a couple of early 2000s in there, a bit of
Mm.
Powderfinger and whatnot.
Yeah.
But,
Powderfinger were great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Tab and I went to their farewell
Oh,
concert
yeah.
here in Perth down
Yeah.
at the foreshore there.
Oh yeah.
That was brilliant.
That was only a few years ago.
Yeah, well, 2010 I think it was.
Yeah,
Is it that long ago?
Yeah.
I was there.
Damn.
Yeah. Is that the one where they had the main stage, right? And then they had this
Frank
stage.
Augustus?
They had a,
Yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
They had a satellite stage in the crowd, right? So he what's his name? Bernard Fanning
Fanning.
went down below the stage on the main stage, and then it must have had a tunnel that went underneath the crowd. It was like a little you couldn't see it because it was like a little walkway through the people. And then he popped up on this satellite stage in the crowd, and
Awesome.
it was awesome. It was a great
Sick.
effect. Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. I love it when bands
Do some things.
do some different things. Like, I heard.
Mm.
Wasn't there might have been Prodigy or something that at some sort of big day out? I don't know whether this is true or not, but someone told me that a firing arrow, like an arrow on fire, was shot from behind the crowd onto the stage, and whether it hit him or not, the lead singer went up on flames before he started singing.
Wow.
Have you
Deliberately.
heard of this?
What? He
That's
caught
what
fire.
That's what I heard. It was like a big day out or something.
Shit.
Deliberately, do you mean? Or
Deliberately.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a deliberate, like,
yeah. So you had some flame
like
suit
a
on or something.
Barcelona Olympics
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
shot that fire
Yeah.
arrow and lit the thing. And apparently that arrow missed, and they just lit it up to
Gotcha.
indicate that it did land.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think that would happen.
But I think
They'd
this
have a
might have happened.
contingency.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
this might have happened with that lead singer. It might not have got him, but then they just lit him on fire and
Right.
put him out.
Yeah.
But it was this awesome effect of this. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I just heard it.
Fuck,
You
that
think
would be
you-
epic. Imagine catching fire.
Because obviously you didn't start a fire starter.
Yeah,
Mate, imagine that. You'd have to.
He was a fire
you'd
starter.
Google that.
you could definitely find that.
You
Yeah.
reckon?
Yeah, for sure.
How cool would that be if you're in the audience?
Oh,
But they would have. You would think they would have done that at several shows. You know,
Yeah,
he would have had to have.
it'd have to be on
flame
YouTube surely,
retardant.
unless they've taken it down because people might imitate it or something.
are the days of awesome concerts like that over? Like your big day outs and your like, is that a thing in the past? Do you reckon? Well, there's sort of like Splendor in the Grass and stuff now. Like that's probably one of the big ones in Australia. But like,
yeah.
but is it different now? Like because we've
Oh,
lost
for
that
sure.
sort of
But I think
hard, sort of grungy.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
more.
It's more
It's
like
more clean,
even
refined.
the words
it's
Splendor
more,
in the
it's
Grass.
more politically correct now,
yeah,
and
it sounds
more,
like just bring your picnic rug and sit
It's
down
not
and
like-
have a couple of
it's not like
Chardonnays.
come as you are and
No.
rock out.
Well, I
now
think
it's like,
that's-
oh, well, yeah, come and we'll have a nice picnic and we'll be quite politically correct and
Yeah.
I'll make sure not to offend anybody and we'll listen to some nice music. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm not
Yeah.
going to that. That's
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what Splendor is.
Yeah,
Is a bit more of a relaxed vibe.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure there's festivals for heavy music now.
Yeah.
but we're just not in the loop.
Nah, we're too old.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if there is like big ones. Like I'm talking about in Perth or in.
Because remember back in the day, remember the Express newspaper?
Oh yeah.
The Express
Yeah.
newspaper, you'd just get that every Thursday
Uh-huh.
and it'd have every gig for the next week.
Yeah.
And you just go through it, oh yeah, let's go see that.
Mm.
And you go rock on the weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
Generally the weekend started on Thursday afternoon
Mm.
and you'd go through till Monday.
Classic.
The Express magazine there's always a gig on, there's always something
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess what, is there an Express magazine out there for young crew now to go through and,
It's probably online.
Yeah.
yeah, can't use a newspaper.
Socials.
Yeah, on the socials, yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, but that's like a pub scene these days, mate. You go into a pub, and now there are more tables and chairs in pubs than there is standing room.
Mm.
And they just want people to sit down,
Mm.
and you can control people that way a
Same
lot
with
easier.
schools, yeah. Sit down, everyone's under control.
Mm,
No rowdiness.
no. So
There's
Splendor
no-
in the Grass, bring your picnic rug,
Yeah.
don't be standing up in no mosh pit.
There's no 100 club at the Paddington Ale House anymore.
No.
You know, there's none of that.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, times have changed.
Loose. Well, I'm glad I grew up in the noughties
Yeah.
or the 90s.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Good
Yeah,
times.
it's good.
When society wasn't so litigious. I think the
yeah.
litigious side of
We weren't so
society
offended by shit.
Yeah,
I didn't get offended by what someone else wanted to do. I just did my own thing.
yeah,
Everyone else did their own thing too.
yeah,
If I was different to someone else, then we all just agreed that we were different and got on
Yeah.
with it.
yeah,
I wasn't getting offended if someone said something or
yeah.
dressed a certain way or did a certain thing.
Yeah.
Or had sex with a certain animal.
No.
Just whatever, whatever
I've
rocks your
gone off on a
boat.
tangent there. You're going to different places to me.
I think bestiality is probably a good way to finish it up. Isn't
Righto.
it?
Yep.
Before we
Agree.
get too
Good chat.
censored.
Bring on the air guitars.
Yeah. Speaking of, that's a cracking little bit of piece of music.
It is a nice little riff, isn't it? Right, see you next week.
Yeah.
Let's talk politics.
Oh, yeah.